Yapulo, Epaiwo, Sedeng Deng, Yapulo, Epaiwo, Nenopulo, Epaiwo, Sedeng Deng, Yapulo, Epaiwo,
Namastu, which means I bow to the divinity in you. And welcome to another edition of Q Radio, on a quest to bring you the Atonus Karastian narrative. Of course, my name is Ka-Hun Anku Sarah, and I am very happy to be with you here on this White Monday, Whit Monday. And we're going to be, having a wonderful show today, as per usual. Today we're going to be talking about the royal wedding, and we're going to be catching up with our good friend Chrissy Love, who is already with us. We're going to bring her in a bit. But before we do any of that, we definitely want to pay homage to our sponsors. And of course, we are under the auspices of the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah. And our sponsors today are Qubtic Village, Florida. And you can catch up with Qubtic Village, Florida at journeyhomegroup.com, as well as Qubtic Kitchen Bahamas. And we're not open today, but you can call us tomorrow at 810-3457, 810-3457. And of course, for all your chlorine needs, check out Chlorine Depot at 424-6658, 424-6658. And Avid Custom Bags and Accessories. Let me show you some of these thread. These ain't your regular straw bag. It's even do straw bow tie and thing. You know what I'm saying? But check out Avid Custom Bags and Accessories at 432-6012, 432-6012. And last but not least, Mike's Carpentry for all of your drywall, painting, carpentry, tiling needs. Check out Mike's Carpentry at 455-7373. That's 455-7373. And of course, if you want to become a sponsor, please do so by contacting us at 242-426-1148, 242-426-1148. Or you can just simply hit us up on PayPal at journeyhomegroup, the number 2, at AOL.com, as your sponsorship / donations are necessary to keep this show up and running, because, we need funds too. We got to pay the lights and all that fun stuff. But that being said, we're going to open the show today with opening salvo on the royal wedding, because we want to be clear. We've been getting a lot of feedback on the royal wedding and what the royal wedding actually means to different people, and you have a right to feel how you want to feel. Namastu to all of you who are listening. I'm just seeing some of you are chiming in. Namastu, brother Hubert Edwards. Namastu, Tavarin Ferguson. How you doing, man? Appreciate y'all being here. All right. So let's be clear. This show is about the Atonus Karastian narrative, and so we're going to tell you how we feel about any number of issues. And I want to just point out the royal wedding, because on Saturday you had people dressing up in their best royal garbs and drinking tea and eating crumpets. And again, that's your right. I'm not really knocking you for doing what you want to do, but we had the conversation on Facebook about people being proud of the now wife of Prince Harry. Her name is Meghan. In the middle, mess up the girl name. Let me pull her up. Meghan Markle. Because the reality of the situation is there are people out here who are saying that she is a role model for our young women. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. She definitely has a right to marry who she wants to marry. But let's be clear about a couple of things. Meghan, and I'm going to put a picture, a before and after picture. All right? Meghan ain't trying to be black. All right? So our little black girls don't need to be looking up to her as no role model. This is the plastic surgery picture, before and after. All right, she running away from that black nose that her mother gave her. So yes, she definitely has a black mother, but she ain't trying to hold on to the characteristics of her black mother. So that's the first thing about Megan. All right. Second of all, Megan has married into a very wicked family. All right. Some of you may not want to hear this because a lot of you are so interested in trying to be like the royals that unfortunately you don't understand how the royals even became royal. All right. So I just want to drop a little something here just so we could be clear on, the reality behind the royal family, because sometimes you just don't know. You understand? And I can't judge you wholeheartedly on what you don't know, but I could judge you on the fact that you're not interested in even doing research in a day and time where we can actually look some things up. All right? So here's a little something that I found. All right? Before I even go there, let's talk about quickly the prince. All right? This is what their people are saying about the prince. Right? He really ain't royalty like that. His daddy really ain't his daddy. That's what they saying. I ain't getting into people's business. I ain't telling you what they saying. All right? They saying that the man daddy, you see the red hair here? And you see his red hair? Now, y'all see Prince Charles before. He ain't really look like Prince Charles like that. You understand? But, this is what the Palace Insider tells the publication. It was Mark, not Charles, who raised Charles after Princess Diana died. All right? This is their inquiry. This is their punch. All right? This is Harry's real daddy is what they're saying. So it kind of makes you wonder why they would allow a black girl or a girl who has black roots into the royal family. Maybe they don't see Harry as one of theirs. Maybe they don't. I mean, this is just the Atonis Karastian narrative. This is how we look at things. Mark Dyer is the name of this gentleman. All right? So that's the other thing we're looking at. I'm just throwing these things out here. We're going to be talking about this and a whole lot more with our good friend Chrissy Love, right? Because if we don't share our narrative, then the reality of the situation is that you think that we hate white people or that we hate the royal family. This is not about hating anybody. All right? This is simply about us getting to the reality of what is actually going on. All right? Now, there's another site that I'm looking for. Let me find it for you. That talks about this royal family and how they actually even became a royal family. And these are actually German people. All right? And let me pull it up quickly. We need to understand, because even here in the Bahamas, we have Windsor this and Windsor that. Right? And we need to understand where this Windsor even comes from, because it's not what we think it is. All right, I had a website, I'm going to find it right now, that speaks to this. All right, so where did British family get Windsor name? All right, so this was a period in time where they were warring with the Germans, and they could not keep their ties to the British or to the Germans, and they needed to actually create this title of Windsor. All right, so I'm pulling up something here, and this is stuff you can go and look up. So don't say, oh, well, Anku Sarah is, hating on the royal family. The royal family is hating on itself because they don't want to be who they really are. All right? So let's look at this. Okay? Here's what it says. It says how the House of Windsor was born. Documentary reveals the man who scoured history books to find a British name for the royal, advertisers are jumping up on the site. Let's move them out of the way. All right. Okay. How the House of Windsor, was born. Documentary reveals the man who scoured history books to find a British name for the royal family and why Stuart and Tudor didn't make the cut. In 1970, King George V decided it was time to lose the Saxe-Coburg Gotha name. He asked Private Secretary Lord Strumfordham to find a British alternative, and Lord Strumfordham trawled through history books but struggled to find one. He was finally struck by inspiration while working at Windsor Castle in June. Okay, so this is where the name comes from. It's from the Windsor Castle. The Windsor name is now synonymous with the grace, grit, and majesty of the British royal family. But just 100 years ago, they were the House of Saxe-Coburg Gotha, the name given to the royal family by Queen Victoria's German husband, Prince Albert. In the spring of 1917, King George V, aware of the monarchy's precarious future, decided it was time for the family to find a British name, one that would alleviate the concerns of a public gripped by anti-German sentiment. Like them people who killed the Jews? Yeah, them. The man tasked with the job was Lord Strumfordham, the king's trusted private secretary. He trawled through history books, but struggled to find a name. And of course, it says here that he was struck by inspiration while working in Windsor Castle. Okay, good. So we got that out of the way. All right? So this is, again, stuff that you can actually look up. So there's fraud upon fraud when we start talking about the British family. All right? Now, here's the reality in terms of we in the Holy Qubtic Church and what our position or what our stance is on this whole idea of even mixing your seed. The reality of the situation is that these royals are not interested in you as black people. They don't really care about you in terms of your existence and why you even care about them the way that you do, because the reality of the situation is, if we really, really wanted to be honest about it, anybody with an inkling of self-worth would not be so interested in actually trying to be like the very people who literally helped to enslave them. Okay? And some of us, again, in denial or in Stockholm Syndrome mode, will say that, it doesn't really matter, right? And to you, it may not matter, and that's fine for you, all right? I'm especially concerned with my brothers and sisters who are of the conscious community, who still look for excuses to say that they don't, or that they want to be a part in some way of this royal family. All right? We in the Holy Qubtic Church make it very clear. We do not mix our seed. All right? And this comes out of our scriptures, the original books of the Bible. And this is, again, from scroll number 10, or Genesis chapter 10. And it's talking about one of the seeds, all right, coming out of Noach or Noah, called Javan. All right? And if we go up, and this for those of you who have this actual parchment or this scroll, the seed of Japheth or Japheth has two groups, a pure Melaninite seed and an impure cursed seed. All right? Coming down into the lineage of Javan, all right, Javan was guilty of mixing his genetic seed with the seed of wickedness. And then there were the wicked Javanites, who were descendants of Javan and his melanin recessive Canaanite wife Iris. And these descendants were Kitsi and his wife Miriam. And they go down through who these were, right? But let's look at something here in terms of what it says he was doing wrong and why he was being called out, why he's being called out in the scriptures, right? Verse 21 says, they were two genetic lines of mixed Canaanite neutrinoid genealogy who violated the book of Ma'at, whereby they did further mix their seed with the Caucasian seed of Canaan. So in the book of Ma'at, it makes it very clear, and for those of you who want to know more about this, you can go on to, we have a show called Black Wives Matter. Not lives, but wives. Black Wives Matter. And we talk about this reality of mixing the seed. And we go into the book of Ma'at, verse 33, where it talks about the reality of, it says, O humanity, most surely have we left on tar earth the angelic records concerning sexuality is taught by the priestesses and priests of the Holy Qubtic Church that do protect the teachings of the min priesthood. This word min, if you go into the book of Genesis, chapter 1, and they say, and after its kind, and every tree after its kind, the word kind there in Hebrew is min, because this was the priesthood that was responsible for protecting what we know as natural sexual union. Okay? So it goes on to say, all right, that we were created in tribes and families in order that tar earth be filled with variations of your species, which help to maintain its balancement. Thus, defile not this balancement by mixing your seed. So you were already created into tribes and families, and many are still deciding to go against the divine scriptures. Now, some of you will say, well, this ain't my scripture. That's fine. But the reality is, nature has laws whether you agree with it or not. You understand? So we are looking at those people now who, because you got a crew saying, well, we mixed. Well, let me tell you something about you mixed people out there. In slavery, there wasn't no mixed people. All y'all was niggas. You understand what I'm saying? So once you had one drop of black blood, you was considered black. You understand what I'm saying? And many of you today who are out here calling yourselves mixed are saying you're mixed because you don't want to be black. And let me give you an example. President Obama was mixed, but he considered himself black. Alicia Keys is mixed, according to some of you, but her commitment is to the black community. You understand? So you have to, at some point, make a choice, because when they pulling you over and shooting you unarmed, they had a lady the other day with her son driving, and the rednecks decided to run her off of the road. You understand what I'm saying? She was a black woman, but the point I'm making is they don't care if you say you're mixed. They are going to deal with you as a black person, because the world doesn't function off of how you think you are. The world functions off of how the elite think you are. So all of us here are in a third world country in the Bahamas, and all of us here who think we ain't really black and we really mixed, and you got to go digging all through to find your Indian heritage and all this stuff. Indians was enslaving black people too, just so you know. They was holding black people for white people. You understand? And we are not going to forget that. And we're not going to remove this narrative away from our children, because we realize if we start talking crazy about being mixed and start talking crazy about it don't really matter and you don't want to understand genetics. Many of you who try to argue or try to find some fault with what we're saying on Facebook, you don't have a clue about what genetics is saying. You understand? How do you understand genetics when it comes to horse breeding and dog breeding, but not human breeding? So I just wanted to put that out there. We are not proud of Meghan Markle. We do not accept her as a black woman. She doesn't accept herself as a black woman. However, it is her right to marry who she chooses to marry, as it is our right to point at her and say to our daughters, no, you will not be like her. You understand? You will not be like Serena Williams. You understand? Who also had a nose job. Who also is running away from herself. You understand? Let's give you a little update on Serena. For some of you who think I'm just being mean, right? This is her. This is the before and after. They wasn't accepting Venus and Serena when she first came into the tennis world with her braids. Now she too big and proud for black people. But again, it's her choice. So we're not against people's choice. But just like you have a choice to do what you want to do, we have a choice to call you out on it. All right? So that's my opening salvo. And At this point in time, I want to bring in somebody who, before I even bring her in, let me just tell you quickly about my friend Chrissy Love. You understand? When I was just becoming a pastor, when I was just having the nerve to even say some of the things that I say right now, nobody would touch me with a 10-foot pole. They still ain't want to touch me, child. So I get my own show, right? But lo and behold, Chrissy Love said, you know what, Anku? This is when she was at ZNS. And even we had a relationship at Island FM, right? And she said, you come on my show and you speak your truth. And does Chrissy Love agree with everything I say? No. That ain't why we friends, because we agree with everything. I don't agree with everything she say. She don't agree with everything I say. But we's friends. We's row sometimes. And guess what? We just get over it and we just keep moving, right? And I'm very thankful that Chrissy Love did what she did, because many of you wouldn't have known an Anku Sarah or the Holy Qubtic Church without Chrissy Love. I'm saying it, I'm proclaiming it, because it's the truth. You understand what I'm saying? And so without further ado, bing! Let us bring you into our view. Let me move my logo so they can see the little picture of me. Bow. Chrissy Love, how are you?
Anku Sarah, how are you, my love?
Man, I write you, man. I write you. Happy to catch up with you and see how you doing. See, they always just ask me, where Chrissy Love? Where your friend? I say, Chrissy ain't far. She right online. You know what I'm saying?
Every day.
Every day. Chrissy, tell them where you speak, please, because they believe I think I hiding you or something. They believe.
Well, first of all, let me say it's good to be here conversing. Let me be black, conversating with you once again. Ever since 2001 when we started these messages, it's been my pleasure to be a part of the conversation. And I'm glad that I'm here with you and your audience. But I am every day on the YouTube live stream platform. One of the things I've done as life has sent me lessons, I've taken them lemonades and I've made chocolate cake. And so after everything went down, and I decided that I was not willing to take people's foolishness anymore.
Right.
Because, a sister could be 56 in 2 weeks, and I'm tired of taking people's foolishness.
My Lord.
Tired.
Yeah.
And so I'm now on YouTube. Every day I stream live between 2 and 4 p.m. The channel is called Chrissy Love Live to the World. And Anku, I want to say to you, you see how when the Bahamas rejects you, the world is out there, thanks to technology providing an assist.
Yes.
So even though we may live in the 100,000 square miles of water and live on the 21/7, our thinking doesn't have to be. So that's why I am every weekday between 2 and 4. I think about taking today off, saying that it's white. Wit Monday. Since it's a holiday, I know Bahamas into the beach. So if you don't see me today on YouTube, it's because I took a day off.
Right.
But generally, I'm here
now.
weekdays. 2 and 4, and I'm glad that you're giving me this opportunity to be a part of your conversation. I've been watching Q Radio. I want to salute you for making that jump.
Thank you.
And this is what we need. We need all kinds of opinions.
Right. No, Chrissy, it's important. You are a strong black woman. I gotta say it that way, Chrissy, because even though you, obviously, like everybody else, you go through your struggles. You ain't scared to speak your mind. Never was. And I would dare say never will be. And
well, I used to be.
Yeah? Tell us about that. Chrissy, there was a time when Chrissy was shy or something like that?
Anku, now look here. Don't make me out you on this radio. This Q Radio. You know me since I was Chrissy.
But when you're younger, right? You don't really see or process those emotions as being shy. You know what I'm saying? I always saw you as outspoken. I always, you was Chrissy. It never dawned on me that.
Yeah, well, from the time you knew me, that's true. Because again, I started speaking the things I was feeling when I right out of high school, when I realized that I had my own agency and I was my own person. I didn't have to pretend for the fear of persecution of friends and family, especially when you're a child.
Right.
You don't believe you have your own ability to speak your truth. And I've been sharing my truth. A lot of times it's come with a lot of cut hip, but I've been sharing my truth. And
right.
I will admit, I guess when I met you, I was already turning into this rash, speaking out against wrong. Because again, Anku, you and I are so much alike. Injustice rankles us to our core.
Right.
I don't like justice, and I'm going to speak out on it. And I just started speaking out about the things that matter to me, because my goal, like when all the shows you and I used to do, you talk about the RNA and the DNA, I am not passing on this dysfunction to my child.
Right.
The crazy and the dysfunction and the lies and the pretense stops with me.
Right. Right. No, that's crucial. That's important, because that's essentially what you and I have been speaking about on the radio for years now. And one of the things that we have been doing here on Q Radio is just bringing our narrative. You know what I mean? I learned that from you in part, because you in putting your shows together, you always made sure that your opinion, was front and center, so that people knew. Nobody could ever say, when the obituary is finally read for Chrissy Love, we didn't quite understand what she meant by that. you.
Crystal clear. Crystal.
Right. So what have you been up to? I mean, people keep asking me, well, where's Chrissy Love? And I say, I speak to her. She's okay, but what do you want the Bahamian people to know who being out? We nosy. What?
Yeah, well, the thing is, first of all, stay tuned for the book. I am writing a book about my years in the Bahamas. It's called Trapsy, Astonishing Bahamian Stories.
Wow.
But I've been over here after the arrest and death threats. I decided that I had enough.
Wow.
The words of Mbaku, are you done? Well, I was done. I had enough. And my baby boy, who you helped to shape and mold.
Yep.
He is now starting his new phase of his life. He's about to play collegiate tennis. And I said, Christina, why are you stressing out in Nassau? You could do your show anywhere. You already started the podcast on Facebook Live. You now jump to YouTube. You don't have to be stationary. Right. So after people threatening my life for having an opinion, and the judiciary of the Bahamas, some members trying to incarcerate me, I said, you know what, I don't need this. Right. I really don't need to put up with this. And so I decided to take a dip. I'm here on the northeastern United States. Mm-hmm. If you listen to my show, secrecy where I is.
Right.
But I've decided that I'm going to continue to do my shows. I'm going to continue to speak the truth, speak out against what I see as wrong in our country and in the world. Right. Because a lot of what you're saying with regard to this royal wedding, I'm just like you. I ain't as harsh as you with regard to Meghan, but I have an issue as a black woman growing up in a colonial territory, loving British and loving the royal family. I've always spoken out about, my disgust about the monarchy.
Right.
Again, but it's all about pretense, and people by and large like pretense. So I'm over here just living my life, seeing my son grow up. Because one of the things I hated, and you were a competitive athlete as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. My son says, "Mommy, I'm glad that you're over here to see my matches, because I want to live my life these last. Like I say, I have a good 40 more years left on the earth. Right. 50 if the Lord, the Most High, be good to me.
Right.
Yeah, I can be right here till 110, bordering,
Right.
But so I'm just here living my life, and when the arrest warrant and those who are guilty of the death threats are arrested, I see one person already incarcerated. Then I will see what I'm going to do with my life. But right now, I'm just living my life, and I choose to live my life free, unencumbered. Well, as free as I could be in America as a black woman, but unencumbered, unbothered. And I'm not going to let people try and take away my freedom. And unfortunately, in the Bahamas, our country. Yeah. People believe they can do anything to you, and you're just supposed to sit there and take it.
Right.
So that's where I is.
Yeah, man. So for those of you joining us right now, speaking with a very good friend of mine, Chrissy Love. I know some of y'all are from America, so you don't quite know who Chrissy Love. I'd say she's our Oprah Winfrey, without the $1 billion. She don't have the $1 billion yet. Yeah, but she definitely has the clout and the wherewithal. For those of you who are in the United States and don't know who this this lady is that we're talking to today. Without her, I would dare to say that many in the Bahamas and even around the world wouldn't know who Ka-Hun Anku is or the Holy Qubtic Church, because there's still people who walk up to me today and say, man, I miss conversations with you and Chrissy Love. I really miss it. Well, we're going to continue those conversations periodically here on Facebook, because I remember when, everything was happening and it was like, what's the next move? And this was just an idea. This was just something that, it was like, maybe we could do the shows from Facebook. Like you say, you already started the podcast and etc. But here it is now. You're leading the way, because now there are others who have followed you onto Facebook, including myself. You understand? So sometimes what people have for evil is just the most high way of making a way. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, there's enough for everybody, Anku, and I'm proud of you. Like I tell you, I was proud of you since you was that little boy, True Soldier Road, not polyester silk.
Lord. You remember that,
I'm proud
Lord?
of you.
I even tried to bet you to flash this now.
Man, look here. I just, and can I tell you, and I'm not saying I'm a seer I believe if I have a little bit of vision, I believe we all are gifted with the gift of sight and vision.
Right.
But I saw you being all of this since you betrayed. I'm not surprised at where this has taken you.
Wow.
It really is not surprising to me. It's just a natural progression.
Right.
And kudos to you for having a different conversation. And it's not easy being different in the Bahamas.
No, it isn't.
I know when you say the Black Messiah, remember on my show when you said the Black Messiah, we used to hear people fake. But I'm glad that you stuck it out and you thugged it out and you're here. Like the black folks say over here in the DMV, come through with the come through. I'm so proud of you.
Love it.
Proud of you.
I'm proud of you as well, Chrissy. So, Chrissy, in this country of ours, there's still a lot of political persecution. There's still a lot of people afraid to speak up. There's even religious persecution. You have an opinion about certain things, whereby people literally will try to damage your credibility, your character, and like you said, you even receive death threats.
Yep, that's the last straw for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know it
straw.
was gotten that bad. That's crazy.
Well, serious death threats. I've always received, election time. A lot of people in the media, but a serious death threat where they come and visit you and they call names of people who have the political and social power to do certain things. And unfortunately, I know this is a spiritual religious show. We all know that in our country, many people have killed other Bahamians for power.
Right.
We all know the story.
That's all part of religion.
I just decided it wasn't worth it to me. I got to live for Wayne Bryan III and myself.
Wow. I don't think a lot of people really appreciate what you were enduring. A lot of people, they love to say, oh, she's a fugitive. Oh, she run. And I'm like, it's called all living things. There's 7 characteristics of living things. One of those characteristics is irritability. So because she's living and she was being irritated, she moved. She got out of the way.
How do you be a fugitive in the country where you were born?
Right. That's even more crazy.
I ran away to home.
Right.
Okay then.
Right.
Anyway, let them continue the narrative.
No, and this is why, we got our own media channels here on Facebook, because people can say what they want, but they still can't run away from the fact that the narrative that we share will be on Facebook or YouTube or wherever.
Yep, and that's technology. The thing is, unless the Bahamas gets like Korea and Kim Jong-un and decides to shut down the internet, the thing is, you cannot stop Bahamians from having an opinion because technology is everywhere. And those of us like me, like you, who are getting in on the bottom, people think the internet hasn't reached its full potential yet. And so I'm excited with how the fact that those of us who aren't even, the Bahamas isn't even seen on some maps. We are a mere dimple on the earth, but because of technology, Bahamians with a thought process can get the word out there. And I think what you're doing is especially crucial in our country and old colonial territory, because we have a lot of colonialists out there who just don't see what has been done to them. And, your narrative is helping them to at least have some open thought.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, that's really the aim of Q Radio and having the Atonis Karastian narrative is to let people know that there is another narrative. A lot of people think that everything that they would have encountered at whatever stage that they're at in their life is all that there is to encounter. You know what I'm saying? And,
Sadly.
yeah, yeah. So, what are your views, Chrissy, on what you see happening on the political front here in the Bahamas as far as the people's time? Does it look like the people's time from
Well,
where you?
I made a joke about that, and
Mm,
I have not been shy with sharing my opinions on who I support
mm,
in the country, but I make a joke with that slogan. It's the people's time, dot, 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 to waste. Because I firmly, yeah, gotta laugh. You gotta laugh, Ka-Hun. You gotta laugh.
right,
I firmly believe that until the Bahamas wants to see revolutionary change,
yeah,
and when I say revolutionary, I don't mean violence and bloodshed. Because
right,
in the Bahamas, we've been blessed for all these years. We achieved independence without obvious bloodshed. Of course, many of us, people of color especially, have shed blood, sweat, and tears
right,
for nationhood. But I am just looking at the landscape and wondering, when is it going to change? When is the script going to flip?
right,
And I still see that same, colonial attitude, imperial figurehead attitude, loving things outside of, like you say, self and kind. We are always glorifying things that are outside of us. A good friend of ours just had a status, which is what my show is going to be about sometime this week, about the fact that it's easier and better to live in the Bahamas as a foreigner, especially a white foreigner,
wow,
than a Bahamian, especially a black Bahamian. And so I will not say that I am pleased with what I see so far.
right,
People have to understand that a change in regime only means just that, a change in regime. We need a change of thought. We need a change of systemic and endemic systems that keep our people broke, popped down, poor, unhappy, and unable to live this beautiful life in paradise that we sell to the world.
mm-hmm,
Again, part of the pretense. We're
right,
still in pretend mode
wow,
because half of the things that I was looking forward to, it's been 12 months now. And look, 12 months in what?
for
12,
10
13
days,
days? Who's
yeah,
counting?
right,
I just want to see more legislation that benefits Bahamian people. And I really don't see that.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not pleased. I'm not, and I've been not pleased for 43 years. I always make a joke, and you've heard me say this, Anku, that had I known that this was the dream of independence, I would have stayed home, left my gold jumpsuit in the closet with my Sweetwater tennis, and
mm-hmm,
watched Thundercats and Scooby Doo.
mm.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed.
Right,
And the thing is, until what's that famous saying? No one until we all free and nobody free. You have a few Bahamians who are doing well, but you have most of the country that's still in poverty, sickness, crowding. I just can't believe that this is the independent Bahamas that we were promised, because it seems that our people have gotten selfish and they just don't love Bahamians. I
wow,
just don't understand how you can love Bahamians and do the things you do legislatively, do the things you do socially, do the things you do with the economy of the Bahamas. I just don't understand it. That's
right,
why I listen to people like you who come with the spiritual side to try and break it down for me.
mm-hmm,
Because the Bahamas is sadly, slowly failing. It's sad. And our
wow.
politicians ain't the one to fix it.
But for years on your show, Chrissy, I would always say that our politicians are just as much victims as we are, the electorate.
True.
Insofar as they come in there with a mindset that they basically picked up while in school, and got to the point where they made it to the point of being a politician. But the reality of the situation is we've all been anglicized or Catholicized or Greco-Romanized, and it speaks to the fact that, as far as the Atonis Karastian narrative, we always teach as our Basesh how to hotep tar, and how was it to tell you hi, by the way. But
Hi, Harry.
he always says to us that your religious identity, your rites, rituals, your laws, your commandments, is what actually gives you what we call culture. And out of that culture, then comes your nationhood. So I love the fact that you made the point. We're still in pretend mode because we are still a people who are afraid to recognize that we have any kind of spiritual significance. We don't even fight to try to understand if we have a scripture, if we have records as a people, and therefore we just go along with the narrative that we were born hearing. You know, this whole idea of being shaped in iniquity and sin, which they beat into our heads. Would you say when you beat your chest?
Mea culpa, mea culpa,
yeah.
mea culpa. We believe in self-flagellation. We love to beat up ourselves.
Right.
And we've been taught to do that because we were taught that we were not human. You know, one of the things of being in America, I have slowly been reminded of how, as black people in particular, black and brown, we have just been taught that we are worthless.
Yeah.
And many of us have believed it by our actions, by the things we say, the way we think. It breaks my heart sometimes to see how we have been so like you and I say, brain dirty.
Right. Right.
It's sad.
Well, you know, yesterday in our sermon, we were looking up the word sin in the book of Psalms. And the word they had for sin, and I hadn't even looked it up before the sermon. I just something say, look that word up. I looked the word up, and the word was khat, which is the Tamaraic or the ancient African way of saying body. So literally what they did was they said that our black bodies was a sin. It was a curse. You know, the curse of Ham and all of that. But that programming is throughout every sphere and strata of our community, to the point where they will attack a Chrissy Love for being outspoken. Yet they will fight to have some foreigner being here to stand up next to and take some of their money. And it really galls me. It really galls me to the point whereby I see the self-hate. I see the passion that we have when it comes to destroying each other, but not breaking down the colonial walls that we're still behind. You understand what I'm saying?
We love it.
Yeah.
We love the colonial, you know, the thing is, I must say, and like I said, I've always made it known I cannot stand the monarchy. Some people have accused me of being disrespectful to the Queen, whatever that means.
Right.
And I have always had an issue with this narrative with those of us in the Americas who were colonized. It's almost like we are made to be thankful for the suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell me that you in your right mind. It's so funny. After the royal wedding, I started watching The Crown, right?
Right.
And there's a wonderful line where you see the royal family going to all these outposts like in Africa.
Yes.
And they talk about how the white people saved the savages. And the fact that they believe that.
Right.
It's just astonishing to me.
Right.
And again, it goes with that, like you always say, that lack of not knowing who you are, not knowing that we created mathematics. We had the first universities. We created the first everything, the cradle of civilization.
Right.
It came from us. I just don't understand how we are so quick to buy into the narrative that says we are not worthy.
Right.
Still, after all these years, we, especially as Bahamians, you know, we have this narrative that if you look like us, there's something deficient. And we have our legislators believing that same thing. But you say they suffer from the same conditioning that we did.
Yeah, sadly enough, you know. For those of you just joining us, I see somebody asking, what is the show about? I always have at the top of the video what the show is about, discuss the royal wedding, and I'm mostly catching up with our good friend Chrissy Love. And again, I know some of you are in America, and you're like, who in the world is Chrissy Love? Well, Chrissy Love is a major media figure here in the Bahamas, and she now lives in the United States. And we're catching up with her because we used to do this before there was a Q radio. Chrissy Love, we would come on her show to share any number of things about the Holy Qubtic Church, and that helped to put the Holy Qubtic Church on the map here in the Bahamas. And so we're now just catching up with somebody who has been very good to us, and we're making sure that people understand that we stand with Chrissy Love. You understand what I'm saying? We're against persecution. You know, there can be disagreement without death threats. You understand?
Exactly, and incarceration.
And incarceration. You understand?
If I set foot in Nassau, I could be arrested. Can you believe that?
I can't. It's hard. It's hard for me to believe that. Namaste, was there. It's hard for me to believe that, insofar as I could probably point out some more deserving people that need to be arrested.
Okay.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go there. But the point of the matter is, we know that there's things going on in this country that are not being addressed. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So, so the royal wedding. Chrissy, I had forgotten that people actually dress up and drink tea.
But you did.
I mean, I remember from the last time, like when, someone had ordered tea from the Qubtic kitchen, right? And I was just, they were like, we're going to be here all day. And I said, okay, they're going to be here all day drinking tea. Okay, that's what they want to do outside there. I forgot that there are people who dress up and drink tea and eat crumpets and different things like that. And I guess they was at the wedding. I mean, they was there.
But they're fascinators on their heads.
Yeah, that's what you call it. I was trying to figure out what that was. The fascinators.
The fascination with the fascinators beyond me. But again, the thing is, remember, we've been taught to mimic these people who we've seen as the higher society. And we all know in the Bahamas, we have held on to many British customs.
Right.
Like many countries in the Commonwealth.
Right.
But I just don't understand the fascination. Like I said, I watched it because I will admit, and this is just me being Chrissy Love, I always look at the other side of life.
No, that's fair.
I thought it was very ironic that Prince Harry, and I heard all the things you said about him. You think James is his daddy? True. Anyway.
I'm just saying, his hair red and he daddy had in red.
King Henry VIII was a ginger. Remember?
Okay. So that's where the gene come from. The red hair gene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that might be true.
The Anglicans were so proud of our church, because I grew up Anglican too, and I admit that I'm a part of the brainwashing as well. You and I used to do many shows on this. I admit my part of the brainwashing, because when I heard "Guide Me, O Thou Great Redeemer," "Pilgrim Through This Barren Land," my Anglicanism came through full force. Child, I was singing songs of praises. And the thing is, we've been so brainwashed, but the royal wedding highlighted numerous things for a lot of us. First of all, despite what Meghan Markle feels about herself, when you come from a black woman, you black boo-boo.
Yeah.
So you could cut off your nose, you could shave your lips, you could cut down your cheekbones, you could do whatever. Right. But the fact that the royal family is going to have children, Anku, that are going to need shea butter and coconut oil.
My Lord.
I rejoiced at that.
And Kool-Aid.
Yeah. They have to go to Brixton for that Kool-Aid. But the thing is, I had mixed emotions about it as well because of my disgust of the monarchy.
Yeah.
The fact that, like you said earlier, it's all fake, it's all pretense. You're German and Greek. Mountbatten is not real. Right. The thing is, you decided to step away from your heritage because you were ashamed of it. Wow, like many black people do.
Right.
But the thing is, the royal wedding awakened a lot of different feelings in me. There was one of ambivalence. There was one where I was like, this black gal in the palace. Yeah.
Right.
Because guess what? One good rain, that hair can go back down my hair, look. Don't mind the press. You could perm out, bleach out, scrape out, but like you say, it's in the DNA and the RNA.
Yes.
It's like when people who have bleached out themselves and sculpted themselves to look like something different, when their children come and those genes come true, when that nose come true and them lips, see, Serena could cut off her nose as much as she like, but you see Alexa's nose?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Two finger
nose. I felt, thank you. I felt a lot of ambivalence with regard to it. Did I get up at 6:30? I surely did, and I watched it all.
Yeah.
I shut it off after a while, but I will admit, while there was a sense of pride with regard to the fact that here is a woman whose mother is a black sister with a nose ring like mine
Yep.
and dreadlocks sitting up in the church.
Mhm.
I will admit, I got a little little chuckle with that.
Yeah.
A little tee-hee.
Right. Right.
So I had mixed emotions about it. Of course, the royal family, you know, I again, evil personified.
Right.
They've made money off the backs of us. The slogan that the sun never sets on the British Empire was nothing to be proud of.
Right.
You went in people's countries and forced them to do things that they didn't want to do. So, like I said, mixed feelings the whole day, but
Right.
still going, good.
See, the thing is, you know, I applaud the British people for upholding them as a royal family. I've never shied away from applauding them because that's their royal family. They know.
Well, they bring in money now.
Right. Right.
Britain likes the money the monarchy brings to its coffers.
And that's
as well.
my thing. You know, they have chosen. They line the streets. They uphold these people. So I am in no position. No one is in any position to say that those people can't see them as royal people. I have no issue with them seeing them as royal people. I think my perspective, because I did get to watch some of the wedding. I didn't have time to sit up there the whole day. But my whole thought was that when are we, I'll just keep it real. When are we, as a people, going to actually look at ourselves as royalty, right?
Exactly.
Because we have, I want to show people something right here.
Did you see the wedding of the Haile Selassie's grandson, I think, got married around the same time as well?
Yes, I did definitely hear about that. I did definitely hear about that.
We don't see ourselves as royalty, Anku. You know that. Look at the royal family. I was telling my son, right? He's like, Mommy, you really can't stand the queen. I said, it's not that. But the royal family is as real as the kingdom of Zamunda. They're as real as Prince of King.
Right. Right.
It's all fake. It's all fake and theater. And,
Right.
you know, people are so clinging for something to hold on to. I guess that's why they live vicariously. I have an uncle who flies the Union Jack in his house.
Wow. Wow. I wonder if someone's come by and whip him every Friday or once a day or something.
Okay. I volunteered to do so. He wasn't into
He wasn't into that part.
No, I volunteered to give him the good old-fashioned colonial slave whooping.
Yeah, the colonial high five.
Yeah. You're so funny. You're so funny.
Colonial high five. Right?
I like your analogy about that house.
Yeah.
I break in your house.
Right. Right. You know, here's the thing though. There's a king called King Mswati the Third. He has wives. He has net worth. He has clout. He is an actual African king. He fought against.
So why we don't hear about him?
This is exactly why I'm pointing him out right now, right? Because he fought against colonialism, which is why he's still a monarch. He's a monarch. He's an African monarch, right? We don't know nothing about him. We don't care nothing about him. We probably don't even see him. Exactly. He could come here right now to the Bahamas and look Bahamian, right? But
Anyway.
right, and he
Wives.
got plenty of wives. He got wives. You know how Africans roll, Chris. We got to do our polygamy show one day.
Well, you know how I feel about that. I like how you like polygamy, but you don't want polyandry. But we ain't gonna say
because y'all always have a headache, Chrissy. You know that. If you could tell one
not all
man
the
you have a
time.
headache, you could imagine 3 or 4 men.
That's all right. We'll give you chores to do.
You could imagine every night, all y'all. Hey, Christy, my turn. You ready for that?
I have a headache.
See?
And the headache is you, King Utu. No, I just love how y'all you see y'all conduct this polygamy story so well that broke Bahamian men who have a soda can and a chicken in the bag believe they could be polygamists.
Well, Chrissy, technically, we can't afford one wife. You know,
Okay, then.
technically, which is why you need another wife to help pay the bills.
Oh,
You
okay.
understand the drill. You can't just come in here and be a
Right.
wife. You gotta bring a salary.
That's a hardcore no. But I gotta lie. When I was a wife, there were days when I'd be like, child, where is Jacqueline to help me take care of this house and these children and cook this food? And I gotta lie. There's some parts of polygamy. But then
Yeah.
the jealous part of me wouldn't allow me to do that.
Yeah. We definitely got to do a show on that because we've been threatening to do that for years.
Exactly. But my cousin keeps saying no. My cousin who is wife number 2.
She ain't gonna be on the show.
Sorry.
No, I was saying you were saying she don't want to be on the show because she's living the experience.
Yes, and remember we have been asking, Lord, look here, is this Kismet? She just commented on my Facebook post and it just came through.
Oh wow!
That's as the minute we talk about her. Now everybody
Wow,
goes,
see
"Oh,
that?
she commented."
We gotta set that show up. That's divine providence.
But Anku, we've been asking her from 2005.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's not easy.
She said
Living
Bahamians ain't ready for that.
really they're not. We into sweethearting. We ain't into polygamy. You want to keep it a secret,
Sneaking.
just like numbers.
Sneaking.
We vote against the numbers so it could stay
Yeah.
illegal, and because that's how we like our things illegal.
Yeah.
You know.
Sneaky. We like to sneak.
Oh
It's
man,
in our DNA.
it's in our DNA. We've been fully colonized. You know.
Yep.
Well, Chrissy, our time here is run out. I definitely appreciate you being here. Yeah, man. I want you again to tell people where they can catch up with you through the. She ain't gonna be on today, but make sure you catch up with her.
I come take it because ain't this today? I waiting for the tongues of the Holy Spirit to come across my head.
That's right.
Yeah, that's about
The tongues of fire.
the Holy Ghost power moving just like a magnet. Whatever's trained, good at.
Yes.
But I'm on YouTube. I stream live every day, weekday, between 2 and 4. Keyword between, because it's a podcast. Don't be sending me WhatsApps. It's 2 o'clock where you is. I in my skin. I on time like Anku. But
I saw my days, my late days.
So on Monday and I'm also having an interesting conversation now. It's Black and White Tuesday because one of our so-called friends decided to call me the N-word while
What?
I was live streaming. You
What?
heard, honey? You know I had to snatch her together really quick.
What?
I had to snatch her together. Yeah.
Yeah.
A so-called white lady decided to do that live on my show. So ever since then, I've been doing Black and White Tuesday because I admitted something that people couldn't handle. I said that ever since I've been in America, I see myself beginning to dislike white people. Again, my opinion, my feelings, my thoughts, my rights.
Right.
And so I highlight the reasons why. So we do that on Tuesdays. That's a great show. Wednesdays, we're still committing to our wellness, and because we believe in our community, just like you, Anku.
Yeah.
By the way, send me one veggie pizza, please. Thanks.
I gotta hook you up.
We believe-
That's a
Malika.
deal. That's a deal.
That lentil sauces.
Yes.
Tell Tisha I say, way to come true.
Yes.
But I'm there every day, 2 to 4. Chrissy Love Live to the world. Please subscribe. Please tap the bell so you can get notifications when I go live. And I like people say, I miss you. I'd be like, I write you.
Yes.
I ain't going nowhere. I write you.
Exactly.
I'm proud of you, Anku.
Thank you, man. I learned from you as much as I could, and I
Now you teach me.
I can make sure I don't shut my mouth like Chrissy Love.
Don't shut your mouth. 'Cause,
Mm-mm.
child,
Mm-mm.
people want you to shut your mouth because they want to keep the status quo.
Right.
You pumping water and defecating outside in the bush
My
in
Lord.
2018
My
in the
Lord.
3rd richest country in the Americas. Really?
That's crazy.
Y'all ain't serious.
That's crazy.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate you, Chrissy, and enjoy the rest of your Whit Monday. And
I'm putting the tongue over my head.
watch out for
The
that.
Holy Ghost need to bring these
The tongues of fire coming. Yeah.
I could build you a church when I get this Holy Ghost inspired power.
Listen. Thank you. This show is being recorded. Thank you.
I'm serious. I've been telling you that.
I know, Chrissy. I know you got us. You got our box. No, we.
Buy all the Meadow Street for you. Well, not all. The 2-3 blocks by where you is.
Yeah. Yeah, that could wait.
You can live on forever, Anku. You can
Yes.
live on forever and ever.
We done get started, so we ain't about to stop. Definitely ain't about to stop.
Man,
Yeah.
kudos.
So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. And we can do this again soon.
Yes, ma'am. I write
Namaste.
you. Namaste.
Take care. Wow, so that was our good friend Chrissy Love, all the way from Skype. And definitely we're happy to catch up with her. Because, like I said, without Chrissy Love, we would not have been as well known as we are today in the Bahamas. Because the range or the scope that her show she was able to reach a lot of people, and so I'm sure we'll even have a spike in Q Radio because Chrissy Love has been on here. But I mostly brought her on really just to catch up with her and just to say thank you to her because of what she went on the line. Nobody wanted to hear from the Holy Qubtic Church, but she went on the line and made us a household name here in the Bahamas. All right. One last thing before we get out of here today. It is Whit Monday, and I know people will ask, well, what is Whit Monday? Quick Google search. Whit Monday or Pentecost Monday, also known as Monday of the Holy Spirit, is the holiday celebrated the day after Pentecost, a movable feast in the Christian calendar because it's movable because it is determined by the date of Easter, which actually moves based on the first the first Sunday after the first full moon after spring. Right, I'm nothing to do with God, basically. Whit Monday gets its English name from Whit Sunday. So yesterday was Whit Sunday, an English name for Pentecost, one of the 3 baptismal seasons. The origin of the name Whit Sunday is generally attributed to the white garments formerly worn by those newly baptized on the feast. All right, so you can check that out on Google, but we just wanted to kind of share that with you. Again, tomorrow, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Let me hear from you guys. I do have a lot that I want to share in terms of what we've been talking about here in the Holy Qubtic Church, but I do want to make sure that I am, checking in with you guys to see what it is you want to talk about. So please feel free to leave a comment as it regards what you are interested in talking about, because we want to make sure that we are answering your questions and you're making sure that you are in tune with what it is that we're talking about here. So tomorrow it's going to be a surprise. I have several things that I want to discuss, but I also want to hear from you to see what it is that you want to discuss. I want to say thank you all for being here today, and thank you all for sharing our Q Radio page, because without you, there is no show. We definitely appreciate your donations and kind sponsorships for those who are going to sponsor the show. Again, we are under the auspices of the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah, and we want to thank our sponsors today, Qubtic Village, Florida. You can check out Qubtic Village, Florida at journeyhomegroup.com, as well as Qubtic Kitchen Bahamas will be open tomorrow between 12 and 4 from Tuesday to Friday. You can call Qubtic Kitchen Bahamas at 810-3457 or 437-1816. And for all of your chlorine needs, call Chlorine Depot at 424-6658, 424-6658. And Avid Custom Bags and Accessories. I tell you all, see this here? This a straw bow tie. What you know about that? Straw. Huh? Life. Right? Check out Avid Custom Bag and Accessories at 432-6012, 432-6012. And of course, Mike's Carpentry. Check out Mike's Carpentry for all of your drywall, painting, carpentry, and tiling needs. And you can call Mike's Carpentry at 455-7373, 455-7373. Tell them Anku said to please give you a discount. I don't know if you can get it, but you could at least ask. You know what I'm saying? Check out Journey Home Group, the number 2 at AOL.com, on PayPal for all of your donations, or just give us a call at 242-426-1148, 242-426-1148, as we again say thank you for you being here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Give us some insight as to what you want to talk about tomorrow, or I'll just keep going on. I got a long list of things I want to talk about, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, again, I want to say namastu, which means I bow to the divinity in you. Have a wonderful holiday for those of you in the Bahamas, and for everybody else who may be at work, please continue to have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. This has been Q Radio, on a quest to bring you the Autonomous Karastian narrative. My name is Ka-Hun, Anku Sarah. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.